What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. We continue with our 2023 schedule preview and projected record series. Virginia is up next. Of course, the tragedy last year happened at the end of the season. You have to wonder where this team is going to be at mentally. It's just a tough situation, and I hate to say anything negative about this football team just because of what happened. But we're going to try to evaluate them and their schedule just based off of what this team is expected to be. I think a lot of people around the country are going to be rooting for Virginia, and maybe they rally around the tragedy and they wind up going out this year and having a good season. We'll see. But this is really just about the schedule and projecting what their record could be based off of that schedule. They were 3-7 last year. Of course, the last two games were canceled. And they maybe had a chance to get to 4-8. Maybe that's where they would have finished. Hard to say for sure. But you look at the schedule this year, and it's honestly, it's really tough. This is a tough schedule. They open up with Tennessee in Nashville on September the 2nd. Basically a home game for Tennessee, I'm expecting. And so that's going to be tough. Tennessee's going to be a top 15 team for sure. And Virginia, again, you look at this team. They had several guys enter the transfer portal. They do have some players coming back. I mean, I've looked at the roster. I haven't went really in depth on Virginia just yet, but they've got some talent coming back to where I don't think they're going to be awful next year. But again, this schedule is really tough, and we're going to go through it here. James Madison on the 9th. That's going to be a tough game. That's one of the better group of 5 teams. They play Maryland on the 16th on the road. Maryland is expected to be a pretty good team this year. They've got NC State. That'll be a weeknight game on September the 22nd, a Friday night game. And again, you're to this point in the season, you still haven't had potentially a win. There's no easy games in this first month of the season. You got Boston College on the road on the 30th next. That's a game that Virginia should have a chance in, but playing on the road, that'll be a tough one. So it's very possible that this team will start 0-5. But they do get an easier game there, William and Mary on October the 7th. And I have no idea why I accidentally put an S on William, but it's William and Mary, not Williams and Mary, just to clarify that. But you expect them to get a win there. That's the easiest game on this schedule. And so you would think that Virginia should take care of business in that one. But then you get into the rest of the schedule. It's tough. North Carolina on October 21st on the road. And then they play Miami on the road on the 28th. They get a bye week before those games, by the way. So after William and Mary, they get a bye week. Come back from your bye week, and you get back-to-back road games and tough games. North Carolina and Miami are going to be tough games. So that's not going to be easy. You get into the month of November, and it's a little easier. Georgia Tech at home on November 4th. That's a game that Virginia will have a shot in. They've got Louisville on the 9th. That'll be a tough one. But maybe a shot in that game as well. Duke at home. I'm expecting Duke to be a top 25 team this year, but it's at home. You never know. And then Virginia Tech to close things out. And that one's, Virginia Tech's in a rough spot right now as well. So that's basically a toss-up. Virginia gets that game at home, so they might actually be favored in that one. But again, you look at this schedule, just not many easy wins. William and Mary, that's about it. Winnable games, maybe Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech. Is that it? Possibly. I mean, I don't know. This is a tough schedule, but it could be worse. They don't play Clemson or Florida State. So when talking about this schedule being tough, the ACC schedule really is not that bad. Florida State, Clemson not on here, and so you avoid the two best teams in the conference. It's just the fact that they've only got one easy game in the non-conference, and that's what makes this schedule tough. This wouldn't be a tough schedule for a team like Georgia or Alabama, but for Virginia, this will be a tough schedule because, again, you just don't have those easy wins in there, and it's going to be tough for them to get probably anywhere near a bowl game this year. Let's get to the projection. Our games that stay in the white, those are your 50-50 games that I think the spread will be less than a touchdown. Under 20, over 80, those are games where I think the spread will be 20 or more points. 20-29, 71-80. Those are games where I think the spread will be double digits. And then 30-39, 61-70. Those are games where I think the spread will be around a touchdown, 6, 7, 8 points in that range. So William and Mary, I think you can count that one as a win. Put that one in the green. They should be favored by 20 or more in that one. I would expect at least double digits, 17, 18 points. And if you did bump that down into the blue, it would still be counted as a win here for the projection. I think Tennessee, Maryland, North Carolina, these are games where they don't really have much of a shot. I think they will be double-digit underdogs in these 3 games. Tennessee because, again, Tennessee's going to be a top 15 team. Maryland and North Carolina because they're going to be good teams, and those games are on the road. If those games were at home, maybe you could put them in the yellow, but I think on the road against pretty quality teams there, Virginia is going to be at least a 2-touchdown underdog. And then you've got NC State, Miami, Louisville, and Duke. These are games where I think they're going to be about a touchdown underdog. NC State is a Friday night game. It's maybe a game. And by the way, Louisville is a Thursday night game. Forgot to mention that. That's going to make that one pretty tough, honestly. It's tough to go on the road during the week, and Louisville should be the better team. But anyways, NC State, it's a weeknight game. It's at home. Maybe they have a shot, but they're probably an 8 or 9 point underdog there. Miami, they're probably a touchdown underdog because it's on the road. Just talked about Louisville. They should clearly be an underdog there. Duke as well. If Duke turns out to be a top 25 team like I expect them to be, even though that game is at home, I think Virginia will be about a touchdown underdog. So all 4 of these games going to be tough. They're going to be tough. I wouldn't say they have no chance, but all of them, they're going to be a clear underdog. And then you've got James Madison, Boston College, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech. I think these are games that Virginia will have a chance in. I'm going to call them 50-50 games. And I think they'll probably be favored against James Madison by 3 or 4 points. Boston College, because they're at home, probably going to be favored. Georgia Tech's a real toss-up. Virginia Tech, a toss-up. But again, I would probably favor Virginia in those games because they're at home. So 4 wins, 4 games where I think they will be favored by at least a little bit. And that would, if you win those games, that means you only got to pull off a couple of upsets, and you could get to a bowl game. So I think that's possible for Virginia, but unlikely. And the projection has them at 4-8. So it has them not getting to a bowl game. And you can kind of do the math here. If you split the 50-50 games, that gets you to 2 wins. You beat William & Mary, and then pull off an upset against NC State, Miami, Louisville, or Duke. That's how you could get to 4-8. But it's hard to imagine this team doing much better than that. Again, if they're better, if they improve a lot this offseason and they take care of these 50-50 games, they beat James Madison, Boston College, Georgia Tech, and Virginia Tech. They beat William & Mary. Where does the 6th win come from? Can they pull off a Thursday night upset over NC State? Can they go on the road and beat Miami? Can they go on the road and beat Louisville on a Thursday night? Actually, NC State's a Friday night. Louisville the game on Thursday night. Or could they pull off a win over Duke? Maybe Duke was a fluke last year. Maybe this year they're not quite as good. They drop off a little bit. Who knows? But I think 4-8 is a pretty fair projection. Maybe 5-7, maybe 6-6. But at the same time, this team could finish 3-9. You could lose most of these 50-50 games. If they lose all the games in yellow and orange and they split the 50-50 games, that's going to put them at 3-9. So 4-8, kind of a fair projection, I would say. What do you guys think about Virginia? Give me your thoughts down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports College Football Channel.